Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Dead End Paranormal Park, episodes 9 and 10. That's right, we're doing these final two episodes together and finishing off the season at least. I don't know if a second season has already been, greenlit and everything, but hopefully, because this series is phenomenal. It's absolutely fantastic, and I can't wait to see how this season ends. But with where we left off, Courtney is now working with our main villain of the series, Pauline Phoenix, because Courtney feels like they've been betrayed by our human heroes, because specifically Barney, and I guess also Pugsley as well, were upset at Courtney kind of messing around with Norma when she was clearly in a very vulnerable state, which is fair, because Norma was really genuinely upset, and Courtney was just like, oh, Pauline Phoenix is awesome now. Hell yeah. And it's like, obviously Norma's feeling the complete opposite of that, and it's shattered her entire worldview and has put her through a lot of pain. So Courtney kind of like messing with that is not helpful. Even if, like, she said she was joking around, but even if that's the case, that kind of makes it worse, because that means that she was doing that intentionally and that she knew what she was doing. You know what I mean? That just makes it worse, honestly. But we'll see how this all goes, because obviously Courtney's going to stick with Pauline Phoenix. Obviously she's going to rejoin the group. We'll just have to see how it happens. So yeah. We also have Pugsley, Barney, and Norma having been kicked out of the park. And it's kind of implied that Pauline turned everyone against them. Now, we don't know if this includes Logs and whatnot, their friends, their co-workers. But at least enough people in charge have banned them from the park. So who knows what's going to happen there? Like, how is that going to affect things? That's kind of a pretty big deal, because, this mainly takes place in the park. In fact, I think all but the beginning of the first episode has taken place. Oh, no, they did go to the beach once, but I think that was like right outside the park, it looked like. I might be wrong about that. But they did go to the beach once. Okay, so there was that one episode. But the vast majority of the series has been at the park. That much is safe to say. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to see where this goes and how it ends. It just sucks that it is ending. So, I'll talk more about it in the in the afterthoughts, but that does mean also we will have to replace Dead End in the Friday time slot. So there's that as well. And again, we'll talk more about that at the end, but I just wanted to bring it up now because obviously this is, the end for now. But let's just get into this and hope for the best. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades black and fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode, or episodes. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I know that my thumbnail since episode 7 has just been Norma focused, and like, I know with this final episode I could have obviously chosen a different group shots and everything of the cast. But I'm sorry. The You're My Frankenstein song was probably my favorite part of this entire series. And I'm getting emotional because of the reasons I've said in the past episodes, of the connection I have with Norma here, because of the entire having a creator that you looked up to and whose content you cared so much for and who shaped you in a lot of ways turn out to be evil. And seeing Norma here just move past that in a way to find the strength to stand up to Pauline like this, even if done in song, which by the way was a really fucking awesome song. Like, Patrick Stump working on the music was brilliant, because he's always been really great at lyricism and, you know, just musical composition in general. But like, seeing the meaning and messaging behind Norma's anthem here, it means a lot to me. Again, as someone who's gone through this shit, who's faced coming to terms with a creator I once cared so much about proving to be a terrible person, and who's had to fight back against that creator's terrible ideologies and stuff. Like, obviously in this series it's done in a more fantastical, paranormal way, while in the real world the most we can really do against people like J.K. Rowling is boycotting her content and speaking out against her whenever possible. It's still important to do so. And the connections are still there. And so, hearing Norma sing this song was powerful and moving, and I was enthralled the entire time. And yeah, it was my favorite part of the entire series. And that's saying a lot, because this series is phenomenal. It's amazing. It's absolutely fantastically handled in terms of its representation, its storytelling, its themes, its characters, the depths that it goes to develop all of this. It is so fantastically and phenomenally handled that I feel more confident than ever about it being in my top favorite shows of all time, like I put on the list. And I just hope to God they don't leave it here, because we've already had one phenomenal cartoon on Netflix get kind of dropped off the face of the earth with no warning after having a notable cliffhanger. And obviously, yes, I'm talking about Glitch Techs. With the cliffhanger we have at the end of the final episode here, with the angel and the hints that in the next season we would be delving into that side of things. Like, my God, that is just something I need to see. So I hope to God that Hamish Steele and the rest of the crew get the green light for season 2 and get to bring it to Netflix and to the fans that this clearly is going to have a lot of meaning and importance for. And I know I'm not really talking much about the full content of these 2 episodes, but that's because, like, I want to talk about the depth and overall impact that this series clearly has. It's beautiful, honestly, to see a show like this embrace queer relationships, trans people, and even autistic people, people of different religions. It's so fucking inclusive. And it handles it naturally. It's believable and it's real. It's raw. The emotions that Barney goes through this entire season with his family and everything, it's so real. And the note it ends on, while not as real as it should be, showing Barney's parents apologizing to him and vowing to do better and everything, it's like, I wish that was real. I wish that kind of thing was real. But unfortunately, it's oftentimes not. And for some people, sure, it might have been. But there's a lot of us who haven't been able to feel that kind of positive enforcement from parents and family in general. So, unfortunately, there's still a lot of work to be done in real life to match up to this. And I understand that this is a cartoon and it's a supernatural fantasy series. I understand that it doesn't entirely need to live up to reality because of that. It's just, and I'm not upset with the way it was handled. I just have to point out the differences here. Because a lot of us trans people don't get that happy ending with our families. A lot of us just have to deal with shit. With dead naming, with misgendering. And hell, Barney's parents were never even at that point. They were supportive. They just weren't doing it all the way. So they've already got it. I mean, Barney already has it better in this than a lot of us do in real life. And it's sad and it's depressing, and it's like, I know people who are in even worse positions than me. People who have had terrible falling outs with their parents since coming out, whether as trans or just queer in general. I've heard of trans teens who have literally been killed by their parents because their parents would rather have them dead than live life as a trans person. And it's fucking horrible and disgusting and evil. But it does happen. And I want to make sure to say that here to let you guys know that while this depiction in this series is fantastic in terms of the representation and in terms of how seriously it handles the topic of being trans, it's not always as nice as it is in this series. Sometimes things are a lot worse. So, this series kind of wraps up everything it needed to. These final 2 episodes. It wraps up everything with Tema Lucas for the time being. It wraps up everything with Pauline. And mind you, neither of them are defeated for good. Tema Lucas is separated from Pugsley, retaining his full power, but he found himself, through living in Pugsley for so long, he found himself loving humanity as well. And he ended up leaving. Pauline was completely defeated, and she helped in the end, but she never really was redeemed. She remains a piece of shit. But she did help in the end. You can't argue that. And we got Logs and Barney confirmed. The ship has sailed. Not only has Logs accepted Barney's request for a date, but he's admitted that he's wanted to ask Barney out too, which was, I feel, pretty obvious in the episode where they're standing in line together. It's very obvious he liked Barney back. But having that confirmation is still fantastic. And on top of that, an on-screen kiss. And not at the end of the series, just at the end of the first season. An on-screen homosexual kiss with one of the guys being a trans man as well. It's beautiful. And the two have amazing chemistry, so it also works on that level. But either way, it's just beautiful seeing that level of queerness celebrated. And on top of that, you had episode 9, which was a musical episode. And the songs in it, written by Patrick Stump and everything, were phenomenal. Like, even outside of the Frankenstein's Monster song, all of the music in that episode was phenomenal. It fit with the tone and style of the series. It still felt like, you know, Patrick Stump / Fall Out Boy music. It did feel like it kind of fit that idea too. And on top of it, it was just good. It was just really good, lyrically and musically. Like, I can't wait to see, like, some other people's reactions. I know there's, like, a couple people reacting to this series. I can't wait to see their reactions to this music. Because, God, that was so good. And Tema Lucas's sister was kind of our final main villain of the season. And she was intimidating in what she did. But in terms of her personality, I didn't quite latch on to it. Like, she just didn't have... I just felt her personality wasn't quite there for me, personally. It's the one thing about this finale I will say was a little off. The voice acting was fine. Again, the actual things she was doing were definitely intimidating. She was absolutely a scary villain. But her personality threw me off. It's just like, I don't know. Something about it did not click with me. I don't really know how to explain it, but she didn't feel as imposed. Again, in terms of what she did, she felt threatening, but in terms of personality, she didn't feel as complete, I guess you could say, as someone like Tema Lucas or Pauline Phoenix in terms of their quality as a villain. And I think part of that may be because we only saw her, like, for, I don't know, 5 seconds at the end of one of the previous episodes. Like, we got barely any time with her before her true debut at the end here. And it's like, we didn't have any build-up, any characterization to work off of like we did with Pauline. Tema Lucas had a bigger presence as, like, this vile demon king introduced right away in the series. And then it's like you kind of, like, have this build-up of, like, oh, when's he gonna come out of Pugsley? And when's he gonna finally break free or take over or whatnot? You have that building throughout the entire season. So it's like it actually works better in that regard. Plus, seeing his personality through Pugsley actually helps make him a lot more interesting. Seeing how he's evolved and grown through Pugsley is fascinating from a character standpoint. But his sister she just didn't do it for me. She's not bad by any means, but I would say she is probably one of the weakest characters in this show, in my opinion. Just because, again, we just did not get enough time with her to really make her feel complete. She felt super just incomplete as a character, and it hurt her, in my opinion. And I stand by what I've been saying for the past episodes. Norma, 100% my favorite character. Like after these episodes, especially episode 9, it's not even close, honestly. Like, I love Barney, I love Courtney, I love Pugsley, I love all these other characters and stuff, these side characters, Logs and all. Norma's friend, whose name I can never remember, and I hate that I can never remember it. I hate that I can never remember a lot of names I can never remember, but still. But I love all these characters too, but Norma far outshines them for me. And it's because of the connection. Even the autistic part, especially the autistic part. The fact that she's autistic and hyperfixates and has these social anxiety issues, it's like stuff I actively relate to. And yeah, there's stuff I actively relate to with other characters, like Barney, especially Barney, being trans. And you would think Barney would be my favorite character because trans. But while he's definitely up there for me, definitely top 3, I don't know whether I would have him or Courtney as number 2. They're definitely top 3, though. Norma as number 1, and then him and Courtney as 2 and 3. I just don't know which placement each of them would get outside of Norma. But yeah, it's like they would definitely be up there too, and I still adore the shit out of them. But Norma is like on an entirely different level. In terms of her character depth and development this season, like, far and away the best character development and depth of all the characters in this series, based on this season. In terms of her likability, her charisma as a character, and again, the fact that I connect and relate with her. It all just works together to make her that just amazing of a character for me. And I know not everyone's going to see it the same, and that's fine. That goes with every series I react to. Some people will like other characters more. Some people will like Pugsley because he's kind of comical. Some people will like Norma because she's a chaotic little gremlin. Some people will like Barney more because of the genuine and just serious issues he faces and the respectful attitude he faces them with. Some people will like Tema Lucas the most. Some people will like Pauline Phoenix the most, and so on and so forth. That's just how media is. There's always going to be fans for every character. And I'm definitely a Norma fan. Like, without question. Again, it's like, you noticed I was getting emotional at the start of these afterthoughts talking about Norma's song. Because again, I deeply connected to her. And that song was personal and important and just rockin' and badass as well. It's why I had to use it as my thumbnail, because again, it's my favorite moment in the series so far. So I am just endlessly impressed. Endlessly impressed with what this show managed to do. In 10 episodes, it managed to be so damn good. And I only hope that season 2 does get fully confirmed if it hasn't been already and I just didn't know. If it has been already, fucking awesome. Because like when and if we get season 2, I'm reacting to that. That's gonna be a big deal for me. This was amazing in so many senses. And I can only hope that more reactors eventually check out this series. And I'm going to show it, I plan to show it to my sister too. Because I'm currently showing my sister both Hunter x Hunter and Amphibia. And this is the next series I plan on showing her for sure. 100%. I've already shown her the trailer. She was even surprised when I told her that Emily Osment voiced Courtney, because she watched Hannah Montana and stuff as well when we were younger, so she knows who Emily Osment is. And plus, I think she's watched the Spy Kids movies as well. Emily Osment's in those too. So it's like, she was even really surprised by that. And I think my sister will like this. She's queer herself, so I think she'll like that aspect of it. And I think the humor will definitely fit with her too. But yeah, it's like, I want more people to see this. This is so good. It's important. And it's personal for me. And these last 2 episodes really sold it more so than even the entire rest of the series did. So now we move on. Until we get a season 2, we move on. And so the question is, what is replacing this series for this slot? And the answer is simple. I've kind of already revealed it in other videos or whatnot. But this is being replaced by The Devil is a Part-Timer Season 2. This is one I've been wanting to get to since, like, it was first announced. It's like, I knew I was going to get to this because we reacted to the first season and all. And it's like, I wanted there to be more, and it just took forever for a second season to be greenlit and everything. And then when it finally did come out and start airing, it's like, I couldn't get to it right away. I had to figure out a place to put it and a time to put it. And now we're finally here. So yeah, that's going to start right away next week. So we go from demons to demons, basically. Kind of fitting replacement, I feel. I'm definitely interested to see where it goes, because I do remember quite a bit from the original series. Not everything. Maybe I'll see if there's a recap video on YouTube for season 1, to see if I can catch myself up again real quick, or if there isn't, if I can't find anything, I'll just look up the synopsises for the season 1 episodes. I remember a good portion of it, though. I remember, I think my favorite character was, I think her name is Chiho, the girl who works at the McDonald's with Satan. I'm trying to remember what his human name is. I can't remember what it is at the moment. But yeah, I believe her name was Chiho, and she was definitely, I believe, my favorite character. I just liked her personality and character and everything. Believe it or not, it's not about the entire design. You know what I mean? Especially since she's a high schooler, so that would be creepy and weird. It's an anime thing. It's played for laughs and all. Though to be fair, The Devil is a Part-Timer is satire. It is a comedy satire series. So, and it was made very clear with the water park episode that was the joke with Chio. That was an intentional joke with her. So, yeah. Either way, I'll get more. I'll get all into that when I get to the first episode reaction for next week. In the meantime, tell me in the comments below, what did you think of these final 2 episodes of, at least of season 1 of Dead End Paranormal Park? And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.